This video is brought to you by John Robson Guitar Tuition. If you enjoy the content, please consider supporting the channel by enrolling on a course, purchasing some guitar lessons or a t-shirt, or you can join my Patreon. Now, on with the show. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. It's back to the 80s again this week for the solo analysis. Last week it was the 80s as well. We did a bit of Def Leppard, the solo from Animal. And as you've heard this week, it's Marillion under the spotlight, the solo from probably their biggest or best known song, Kayleigh. I've done a couple of Marillion tunes before, or solos before, featuring of course the wonderful guitar talents of Mr. Steve Rothery. I did Easter, a couple of years ago now, and Incubus as well. But as I say, you can't really talk about Marillion without mentioning this song and this solo. I've had a couple of requests for it, so I thought, why not? So that's what the solo sounds like. Here's an explanation of what's going on in the solo.
Solo explanation.
Okay then, as always, we'll begin by looking at the chord sequence the solo is played over. There it is right there. You can see that we've got 10 times through this little 2-bar sequence of B minor, A, F sharp minor, G. 10 times through that. Then coming out of that we've got D, A, G, D and then C, G, D. Like that. And all of those chords come from the key of D major or B natural minor, with the exception of that C chord. Why is that there? Well, that chord can be, you can make the case that it comes from the key of G major, which is closely related to the key of D major by virtue of the fact that they only differ by one note. The C sharp in the key of D major or B natural minor becomes a C note in the key of G major. So you're essentially inviting a guest chord round from a neighbouring key. That's why that's there. So, given that D major or B natural minor is the the scale or the key which underpins most of this, that is what we've got going on in the solo. Two main patterns feature largely in the solo. We've got this one here. You can think of that as a B natural minor scale, or that's a D note there. You can think of it as a D major scale, and similar thing up here. We've got like that. Essentially, pattern 1 and pattern 4 of the pentatonic patterns with the extra notes added in to make them up to major scales. So I think you can really regard this solo as being a bit of a sandwich. There are two definite outer layers which are worked out in advance, composed beforehand, and then an inner section of a few bars which is just feels a little bit more free-form and improvised. So let's have a look at the first of those outer layers. We begin with a beautifully catchy little motif that goes like this. Then a really clever little trick that is very easy to employ. Just play the same lick again, but do it with a different ending, and it gives the listener something familiar to latch onto, but without it making it sound repetitive. Okay, so after the we play Then we're going to use another little trick of repetition where we basically take that exact same melody and move it one octave up. So there's the first part of it, just played exactly the same as it was before, but an octave higher. Then we do the same trick again of playing it again, but with a different ending. Like that. And you can see how that is all just coming straight out of that higher pattern that I demonstrated earlier. Then this first outer layer of the sandwich concludes with that lick there. Like that. And then we're into the more sort of free-form, improvised section of it, which is a little bit more pentatonic in its nature. It's not strictly because there's one extra note. We grab a C sharp in here, but it's largely based on this pattern of B minor pentatonic and I guess the top half of that pattern there. And the licks that we get are that would not be out of place in a blues solo, especially with this little ending that we get on the end of it. It goes like that, just that little kind of tail on the ending. It's something that Clapton would do a hell of a lot, or does do a hell of a lot. Then we get another bluesy kind of lick. And again, that sort of that little tumble down at the end of it there, which just, it acts almost like the end of the sentence. It brings the lick to a close. Then we're starting to head back more towards the sort of composed part of the solo with this lick. Beg your pardon. That's how it goes. Let me do that again. Like that. And then what do we got next? We've got this again, a little bluesy kind of lick that goes like this. Straight out of pretty much any blues solo that you could think of. And that is pretty much the improvised middle section of the solo. And then we're back into the more sort of composed outro section. And he makes a really rather clever note choice here. We're still over the B minor, A, F sharp minor, G kind of thing. So over that B minor chord, you would think he would go for a strong note from the B minor chord, a B, a D, or an F sharp. Okay, he doesn't. He goes for a C sharp. That is the ninth of a B minor. I did a video about this a little while ago where I'm talking about if you want to make your solo sound that little bit more soulful and expressive, just throw in a few ninths. What is a ninth? It's basically the note 2 frets above the root note of the chord you're playing over. So there's a B, that's the root note of the B minor. There's the C sharp, that's the ninth. I'll just kind of strum a B minor and tap on the ninth, and you'll hear it just has a beautifully kind of emotional dissonance to it. See what I mean? It's just got that sort of, it's dissonant but in a nice way. And after that he goes like that. The rest of that run is basically just a straight B minor, D major pentatonic, but it's just that note that's the one that does the, that gives it its emotional content. Then the other thing that we were talking about earlier, play the same lick again, but with a different ending. That's exactly what he does. First time he plays. Second time he goes. Just basically the difference in the ending is that he plays one less note, but that's enough to make it different. Then we're into the D, A, G, D section, the closing part of it, where he plays basically a similar kind of thing where he goes like that. And there's a nice little harmony part that sits over the top of that, which you'll see in the tab, which just harmonises beautifully with the... It's essentially a third above. You know, if I just looking at the first two notes there, we've got the D there, and then harmonising that with that is the F sharp. If I bring that F sharp to here and that D to here, that's essentially the harmony that you're getting, and that's kind of carried throughout that little descending run. And then the final bar of the solo, really, he just plays this run here, so then comes down a G major arpeggio over the G chord, and then hammers on to the A note, 2nd fret on the G string, as the note which lands over that final D chord. So what have you got going on in this solo then? Well, you've got the 2 outer layers that are composed with an improvised section in the middle. Good format for any solo. Another solo like that springs to mind is the outro solo from Gary Moore's Still Got the Blues. You know, you've got that sort of melody, then he goes off into an improvisation, and then when he brings the solo to a close, he goes back to the melody again. So that's a good ploy for any solo. You've got the whole kind of thing of playing a lick, then play it again with a different ending, then play it again an octave higher, then play that again with a different ending. So you can see how you can get a lot of mileage out of a single basic little lick like that, and it makes the solo richer and more melodic for it. Then, you know, the old trick of adding the 9th over a chord works especially well over a minor chord, but you can, you know, it works over major chords as well. So just what is a 9th? Once again, root note of your chord, go 2 frets higher, play that note, emphasize that note over the chord, and it makes it sound just that little bit more soulful. Yeah, so a lot going on in a nice little solo like that. That's why the solo works so well. There's a lot of clever little things going on in it, and hopefully you can learn some useful stuff from it. And as always, there is a full tab in both Guitar Pro and PDF formats, along with a clip of me playing the solo. The explanation that you've just seen there, and a backing track to play along with all of that, is up on my Patreon page. There's the address, and the link is, as ever, down in the description. It's only $3 or £2.50 a month, and you get access to all of these bits and pieces and extra resources that go along with these YouTube lessons. A massive thank you to everybody who supports me in that or any of the other ways, all of which are linked down below. And that's the video for today, folks. Hope you found it useful and informative in some small way, and if that's the case, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already done so. Why not give me a like while you're at it? Don't forget the live stream every Friday, 5 PM UK time. We drink beer, we talk music, we talk guitars. What's not to like? Fantastic way to kick off the weekend. I'd love to see you there. Come and join us, it's fun. But for now, I'll bid you all a good day and say thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time. Look after yourselves, folks. Stay well, stay safe, and above all, stay sane. Bye for now.